Hello viewers, welcome back. This is Charles. We are working in QuickBooks 2016 and we are talking about customizing the QuickBooks environment here in module 3. We are down to video number 3 where I want to show you how to work with users in QuickBooks. Right now, if you opened your QuickBooks file, it will be just open up, write up your QuickBooks, and you can be able to start working with your company file. But if you have this the user setup, in other words, if you had set up your users during the easy step interview, the first screen you will see would be a login screen. So we go to our company file here, which is Casey. We open it up. It might take some time depending on how your process is working. Now we've seen it is asking QuickBooks. It asks us to log into our company file. That only happens if at all you had set the administrator password during the easy step interview. And me, I did, so that's why it is asking me to log in. So what I do, I put in my administrator password and we proceed. I click OK so that it can open up. So it has now opened up. We are now into our company file and we are seeing the home screen. As far as this subscription is concerned, you'll have the ability to create up to 5 users in QuickBooks. This QuickBooks Pro 2016. You'll have access, or the QuickBooks desktop, you'll have access to creating not more than 5 users in QuickBooks. And if you want additional users, you can purchase them. And I will show you how to purchase more additional users. So let's flip over to QuickBooks, as you can see, and we talk a little bit more about users and passwords. And then I will show you how to go in and set those up for your company file. There are a couple of things, or there are a couple of reasons as to why you would want to set users in QuickBooks. One of the reasons is you have the ability to limit a user's access to certain areas of your company file. Let's say maybe you have hired someone to just come and help you to work with your vendors, these vendors. In other words, that person you are hiring is going to be handling the vendor section alone, is helping you with your accounts payable. So that means anything to do with accounts payables or vendors, in terms of purchase orders, in terms of entering bills, in terms of paying bills, anything that is supposed to be dealing with vendors, it will be that person to have access to, or to help you handle that section. It can be the other way, when you have recruited maybe the accountant to come and help you with your accounts receivables. So he will only have access to that specific area you've assigned that person to. And that's the reason as to why we create users in QuickBooks, because we want to give authority, or want to give access to these people so that they can help us do some work on our behalf. So that's one of the reasons as to why we need to set up this, because it will help us to limit their access on certain areas. If the person you have hired is only going to look at the accounts payables. It means you'll only give that person access to the accounts payables alone. So you'll find that you are only going to allow maybe the to work on paying bills, entering bills, purchase orders, and you limit the access to only those areas in your QuickBooks company file. So as you limit them, they will only stick to those areas. In other words, they will stay in that very area you have assigned access to. And another reason you want to set up the users is you have the ability to track any time a transaction has been changed. If he had entered certain transactions in QuickBooks, you can actually you can actually get to know when the transaction has been altered or it has been changed. And you can also know which user actually logged into that system and the person who is actually responsible for changing or for altering that transaction. You may, as I said, you can give access to at most 5 people with this subscription. But QuickBooks enables you to track the person who has actually logged in. You know the time they have logged in, you know what they have done, because you have you are the one who gives them password, or you are the one who gives them access. So we are going to see how we can be able to create users and how we create those passwords that we are going to use in allowing other people to operate for us, to come and help us in some areas of QuickBooks. So we are going to click on, we are going now to look at, we are going to go ahead and look at our menu bar. Here is our menu bar. And what we are going to look for, we are looking for company, because it's our company file that we are allowing other people to have access to. So we go to company, and what we are looking at here is we are looking at that. From that sub menu, we pick what we call setup users and the passwords. So we come here, setup users and passwords. When you point there, then you also have to see a sub menu that says set up users, change your password, buy additional license. This is buy additional user license. This is where you go if you want to add more users into QuickBooks. If you want to change your password as an administrator, you can go there and change it. And this setup users is where we go if you want to add more users. So what do we want to do? We want to add more users. So we are going to click on that setup users. But as I said, before you do that, you have to make sure that at least you know the number of users that you actually want. If you know that you are going to add more than 5 people, then you need to first of all add user license or acquire an additional user license, because this setup can only allow us to have 5 users that are automatically created, but you can actually buy more additional users if at all you need them. So I'm going back to the setup users, and here you will see if I click there, it will ask for what we call your administrator password, because I had set it, so it is asking me to put in my password so that I can be able to create users. As you know, in QuickBooks, it's only the administrator who can actually add users to his or her company file. So what we do here, we put in our password so that we can be able to access where we add in our users. So I put in the same password that I used when I was creating the administrator password in the easy step interview, it is the same password that we are using there. So you can now see that the admin is already logged in when you look at this. Maybe to explain something more, for the newer versions, you may not have this item of logging in. You may just, when you click set up users, you may just find when it will just log in itself automatically, and you will also be seeing this screen that admin is logged in. But for this old version, that's why I've started from a lower version. At least by the time we look at the newer versions, you will be able to understand what we are actually doing. So now we go to this line here that says add users. So you click on add users. But before we go there, you can just look, there is add users, edit users, delete user, view user, close, then help, then the closing date. So these people, we are seeing that you can, it is only the admin who can actually add, edit, delete, or view the users that are on that company file. So we can add. I'm going to add, you can add any, I'm going to add Ivan. I'll give Ivan a password, but it should be the same. Even here, we put the same thing, and we click next. So when you click next, you are seeing that Ivan is already added, and he has been given a password. So what we do, QuickBooks is asking us which areas are we going to allow Ivan to have access to. And we've said we only hired Ivan to come and help us with accountancy payables or with our accountancy receivables. So it means from this, where it says, what do you want this user to have access to? We are going to give access to a selected areas in QuickBooks, because we are not allowing Ivan to access all our company information. So we click selected areas of QuickBooks, then we click next. When you do that, it is going to show you all the things that are within QuickBooks, and what it will be asking you is your permission for that person to actually have information or have access to that point. So it gives you from 1 page to 10. So you have to answer all of them. Now this one says sales and accounts receivable. We know we are not allowing Ivan to access our datas and our sales. We only want him to access accounts receivable. It means he's going to be accessing purchases and accounts payables. So here we are not giving him access. So we click no access and we click next. Purchases and accounts payables. This is where we want Ivan to have access. It means here we can also give Ivan on that same section, we can give him selected things. We can say you are just going to come in and help us with our purchase orders, help us to pay and enter bills, and that's it. And we can deny him information like printing and creating reports. But here, for us, we want him to create even for us reports. That's why I'm giving him full access. We click next. When you click next, it takes you to checking and credit cards. Of course, we can't allow this person to access customers' credit cards because that's a very sensitive area. So what we do here, we deny him access. We say no access, and we click next. It goes to inventory. We don't want him to go to our inventory things and tries to disorganize some of them. So you keep selecting whatever they bring, you keep selecting what you are allowing that person to have access to. So here we are not going to allow him to have access. Time tracking, it's also, we are not going to allow him to have access to that. That's for us. Payroll and employees, we are not going to give him access to that point. So we click no access. Sensitivity accounting, accounting activities. Of course, as the word you are hearing, it is sensitive accounting entries like the online banking and all that. So we are not going to allow him to have that access, because here you are seeing that the information is going to be very sensitive. So we are denying him access. Now here there is sensitive financial reporting. So the sensitive financial reporting here, it asks us about changing and deleting transactions. It is, and you probably want to leave this way, because now these were just by default they click no access, no access, no access. But for you, you check what you actually want to allow. So for this, we can either say full access, or we are not giving him access to that point. So for the sensitive financial, for this sensitive financial reporting, we can allow him to have access. And see, we can now maybe allow here with the sensitive, we are not going to allow him because it will be on our side. We can do that, but changing or deleting transactions, that one we can, because the first one says if Ivan can be able to actually change or delete a transaction, there we can allow him to have this one, to have access on that. Because what if he enters that information, maybe a wrong information, and he wants to delete or to change? So here we can allow him to change that information. But the good thing, we shall be able to see what he or she has actually changed. So because now, as because with those recording, you are putting in the information, you can maybe enter bill twice and you are not having access to delete. So that's really important that we give him access to this point. Then there is the second option. There is one that says, should this user have the ability to change or delete transactions that were recorded before the closing date? The transactions, because now if you recruit this person today, what QuickBooks is asking here is that, can we allow him to access, like to delete or change the information that he found in the system? Because we recruited him today, and before we had other transactions that we had recorded. So if we allow him to be able to change or delete the transactions that were there, then it will also depend on the person who is actually assigning access to that person. So for that question, me, on my side, I'm not going to allow, because if I'm recruiting you today, then it means what you are going to be working on is supposed to be from today onwards. There is no way I'm going to allow you to look back for the transaction that we actually made. So here I'm going to say no. But this one, I'm allowing him. Going forward, I'm allowing, but backwards, I'm not allowing him. So click next. And now you can actually see the list of the things that we've clicked, that we gave Ivan access to. And I'm going to go ahead and hit the finish this side, because now we've seen the things that we have actually allowed him to do. When I click finish, then now you can see that there are now two users on the list. The admin is still logged in, and if you have maybe an employee that leaves the organization, if let's say Ivan was part of the organization and Ivan leaves, you can actually come here and delete that user. So I'm going to go ahead and close off this, because we have done adding Ivan. Now what we want to do, I want to show you how that is going to be working. So that's what we are going to be looking at. I want to actually log out of my company file. And after logging out, we said we close this. After logging out, then Ivan can actually log into my company file, because if I don't log out, then there is no way Ivan is going to actually log in, because I'm still in. Because at the same time, if you don't log out, then it doesn't also do good to you to create these users whom you are not going to allow to access your company file. So I'm going to click file here. Check, these are the things that we go through when we are logging out. So when you click file, then you have to look for, from that submenu, you have to look for close company or log off. This one, close company stroke log off. That's what we click. It's close company slash log off. Now when I click that, I'm going to log out. It might take some time to log me out. Now you've seen I'm out. So I can click, this is Casey Group, we open it again. When we open, we can now see it is asking for password for someone to actually log into that. So when you see this window that is appearing, the first thing that we see is this no company open window that comes out after us logging out. So we select that company of ours, the one we've been working on, and you open here. When you do that, then it will, that dialog box that comes out, it says QuickBooks login. So we have to put our logins. Now we are not going to use the admin, because you are seeing by default the username is admin. This is something that you also need to know. When we went through the easy step interview, the QuickBooks never asked us to create the username for the administrator. What it does, QuickBooks by default names the administrator as admin. That's the username. For us, we just created the password for the admin, but the username, QuickBooks by default makes it to be admin. That's why here you are seeing admin. So, but me, I want to put in Ivan, because it is Ivan whom I gave access to. So I'm removing admin to put in Ivan. I just want to show you how it works. Then you put in the password for Ivan. What about that? Let me first log out. Yeah, I'm now able to, because the other message that came in was showing they were unable because it was created by another person. Since I was a different person logging in, now I'm logging in as Ivan. So now, if you just reach on this, you are seeing even the settings have actually changed, because it is another person that is viewing. So you can also change and put those on the top bar. So even the screen looks a bit different, like the way we've been using it. So here I'm now logged in as the person they have actually requested to do that. So what I'm going to do here, I'm going to click in that area they gave me access to. If I click to customers, it will not allow me to access customers. There is no I'm going to have access if I've logged in, because now those are vendors. I only have access to vendors. When you try to click maybe on this, it will say you need sales and accounts receivable permission to perform this action. Ask your QuickBooks administrator to grant you this permission. It means it brings out that warning that you were not supposed, you don't actually have access to this area. So the only area that we have access to is when I click to vendors. Of course, those ones, they just open, because that's the area that I was assigned to actually work on. So that's how it works. That's how it works. So what we've said when you log out as the administrator, you make sure that you come and put in the user name and the user password for that person that we've created. And now it's going to take us to this area that we are actually seeing. After putting in the password for that person and we click OK, it takes us to this QuickBooks company file. So when I close, maybe I close this. So those are the things that we actually need to know maybe from that point, because I just wanted to show you how it actually works. And some of the things that, like the way we've seen, even this person he can actually go ahead and set those parameters and all that certain things, because some of these things, they keep on changing as per the user. So maybe that's what I can actually add. Just like the way you saw when I logged in as an administrator, my tool icon bar was on top. But when I logged in as a new user, as Ivan, as a new user, the admin created, I saw it was down here. So that's maybe the thing that we can actually. So if maybe I click on enter bills, let me see if it can let me to do that. So you are seeing I can be able to open some of the things. You can keep checking on the things that you have actually allowed someone to have access to, and you see if it actually works. So me, I've seen it does, it works. So here now you can come in and you start paying the bills. You start entering the bills and pay them, and everything goes just fine. So I'm going to go ahead and close that, and I'm going to log out back, because now I'm going to log out, then I log in back as an admin. So it is the same procedure. Let me first cancel this one out. It is the same procedure, because I'm going to log off, then I'm going to log in again as Annie. So it is the same thing. We've said we go to file and we go to close company / log off. And when you click on that, this message always pops up, automatic backup. Some QuickBooks versions, they may not ask you that, but if they ask you about backing up your QuickBooks file here, because now it is asking you to automatically back up, and it is always going to ask you to automatically back up every 4 times you close QuickBooks file, even if you have just actually did the backup. As long as you keep logging off and logging off for many times, it will actually be asking you to back up. But we shall talk about that issue of backing up a QuickBooks file later in the coming modules. But now, for now, we are not going to back up. So we say no. We are not going to back up anything. We just say no to this screen that pops up that says automatic backup. So we click no to that, and it will take some time to actually. It will take some time. Then it will take us to the same screen that we were on when we logged in as Ivan. So now we can see it has taken us to the same screen of no company open. So with that, we can double click. There are 2 options of opening here. You can first click in that, then you click open here, or you can double click in that same company, double click like that. It will be able to open up. So now you are seeing the username it is bringing is for the other person who logged in, who is Ivan. But now for us, we don't want that way. We want to log in as administrator. So we remove Ivan and we put in admin. That is the username that was there, and we never changed it. So now I'm logging in as an administrator. So it has actually opened our company file. Now we are in the home. We are back in the home. screen. So if at all you had not set those passwords, I showed you where to go to actually put those there. So now we are back in our KC group company file, and I will be having access to everything because I'm there. Now I've logged in as the administrator, so I have access to everything, because now if I click on this, it will be working. If I click on invoices, it will be working, which is different from what we saw from when Ivan was actually logging in. So hope you have got the difference between the two. And the key thing to note here is that it's only the admin who can actually add users. He can actually delete them, he can edit them, and that's it. Because editing them, maybe it was an employer and the employer has actually left the organization. You just edit, you don't need to delete. You can edit and you give the other new recruit the logins to start operating. So, and that's how you are going to be working with the users in QuickBooks. It's only the admin who can edit, add, or delete a user. So make sure you are logged in as an administrator when you are ready to make these changes of deleting, editing, or adding. So now that you have known how users work in QuickBooks, let's talk about something really very important. This is very important, the charts of accounts. So these charts of accounts is really very important in QuickBooks. So you want to you now go ahead and head over to the next video. It's going to be, we are going to start it in the next video, and it's going to be video number 4. And we are going to be talking about the charts of accounts in the QuickBooks. The same way you're seeing them here, those are the things that we are going to talk about these charts of accounts in the next video. So we'll see you there.